Hello, hello. Ron Callis here with another episode of Automation Unplugged. We are here for show number 132. Today is Wednesday, August 5th, 2020, a little bit after 12:30 p.m. Eastern time here in Florida, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And let me jump over to Facebook just to see if the internet gods are cooperating and if we're actually streaming. I did just get a fatal error from Facebook, so that isn't good. So let's see if we're actually live. It's always a good first step. There we go. I see we got a little audience building. Thank you if you're out there watching. My guest today is Paul Lopez, owner operator of Integrated Lifestyles, and known Paul and his team for a few years, and super excited to have him on the show. I think you guys are going to have a lot of fun learning about Paul and kind of the backstory of the business and how they're handling COVID and all the challenges that we are all facing as businesses. Sometimes they're challenges because things are changing. Sometimes things are different and sometimes things are really good, but nonetheless, that creates its own problems. So we're going to talk about all that. Also here in Florida, where I'm based, I've got a handful of One Fireflies based in Florida. We dodged a bullet this week, or this weekend in the hurricane. So there was a hurricane. It was passing over Puerto Rico. I remember Thursday of last week, I was going to have some meetings with a client in Puerto Rico, and they actually had to cancel the meetings because the hurricane had knocked out power on the island and it was heading this way. And we were like, oh goodness, it's going to be interesting. And then it was pleasantly a non-event. So although I know some of you are watching or listening and you're further up the coast in the Carolinas or up towards New York, and I know that you guys have been hit pretty hard. So it got to Florida, and I can't say the name. It's Isaias. I can't really. It's one of those names of a hurricane. You're like, why did they name it that? Because I don't even know how to pronounce it. And but anyway, it got to Florida. It had dissipated. It was literally sunny outside with a few sprinkled rain showers, and then it left us and it went up north. And here in Florida, we're used to sometimes getting hit pretty hard. So I know we were all breathing a big sigh of relief. But anyway, that's enough about local weather. We're not here for weather, are we? We're here for our guest. So let me bring in the one and only Paul Lopez from Integrated Lifestyles. So let me bring him on the screen. Paul, what's going on, my man?
Hey, Ron, how you doing, buddy?
I am good. So I first have to just commend you because your video quality looks so damn good. And I when you and I connected just a bit before the show, I was like, holy cow, what camera are you using? This looks great.
Are you sure it's the camera, Ron? I know I'm a handsome man.
It's clearly not the model. So what is in that camera? No, I'm just kidding. Like, what do you say to that?
I mean, I don't know. I guess, the technology gods are speaking to me today,
They must be that robust network there in your office.
Yeah, maybe so.
Paul, for those that don't know you or know your business, where are you guys located? And maybe just give us a quick snapshot of the business.
Yeah, we're located in Dallas, in the Dallas-Richardson corridor area in Texas. We do commercial and residential audio, video, and automation. We're a client first approach business. We believe hardcore in the relationship of the client. We call them our family. That's just our approach. It's all pretty much in a nutshell.
How long has Integrated Lifestyles been a business?
3 years in May is when we turned 3. So, and we're excited about, what's in front of us.
And how's the COVID landscape there in Dallas? I know that, if you watch the news, and everyone that watches this show knows I tell everyone don't watch the news, but
Yeah,
I get a little inkling of it every now and then, and I understand.
It's hard to avoid, Ron. I mean, everything that we do, every aspect of every step has got, the COVID stuff wrapped of it. Texas was a hot spot for a while. We're just taking the precautions and trying to be as safe as we possibly can, so make sure everybody in the family's good.
Cool. Let's go into your backstory. It's always fun to learn about how you landed in this crazy business and how you landed at the point of actually starting Integrated Lifestyles. So let's go into the way back machine. All right. And how did you land into the custom integration space?
Well, I mean, it all started off with doing network, just data and voice in my early years. This is about a little over 20 years ago. I was actually working for a company doing prison fences, as odd as that sounds, and I got laid off and needed a job. And I became friends with somebody that was doing the information system at the prison. It was a federal prison. And so they threw me an opportunity as just being an apprentice, pulling wire and stuff like that. So I was just doing data and voice for large commercial projects. We were doing colleges and high schools in Southern California area. And, did that for a while. And, 9/11 happened. It was tragic, and lost it. And so I became a cable guy for about 2.5 years, and transitioned from Southern California to Vegas. I was there for about 4 or 5 years. And in that time, the cable business was boring.
This is like residential, like you call your local cable company and the guy comes out in the van, guy or the gal comes out and they install your cable.
I was the guy that the cable company contracted to. So I was the guy in my pickup truck with a ladder rack installing cable modems and NIC cards in computers. So I did that for a while. And then I was at a job site, saw a job with AMX, all automated, thought it was the coolest thing I've ever seen. And they saw that I knew how to do wall fishes and pull wire and all those things. And then at that point, transitioned to that and worked there for another 2 years.
Still in Vegas?
Still in Vegas. So half my time in Vegas was that. The other half was doing the cable work. Then from that, had a baby, marriage baby, the whole 9 yards. But I had my family at the time was in California. My spouse's at the time was in Texas. So immediately we flipped a coin and started putting our things together and said, California didn't do it for me, even though I love the state. Let's try this Dallas thing out. Never been to Dallas in my life. And just, what do I have to lose?
I'm looking over your shoulder, and I totally want to. That looks like a Miami Dolphins jersey. Yes, so I'm like,
it is so confusing, because anytime I tell anybody that, where are you originally from? California. Why are you a Miami Dolphins fan? And I just throw out there, I don't know, Dan Marino. Also, I'm Cuban. I'm the first generation born in the United States for my family. So most of my family is in the Miami area. And the influence of sports was from my aunt and uncles that were based out of, Miami area. So, of course, there is that push. My brother was a University of Miami fan. So,
are you the only Dolphin fan in Dallas?
All my friends seem to think so. Considering they all bleed blue and silver with that other team we don't need to talk about.
Yeah. We're not going to talk about that blue and silver team.
That's right. But anyhow, so I immediately got a job here as just with the experience I had with that other company, working for a very large custom integrator out here, and worked there for quite a while, like 6.5, 7 years. And it was, I learned a lot there, just the get it done, move quickly, get things going, A to Z. They would load me up. They'd give me a full media room with an apprentice and also like a TV hang over a fireplace. Had to get done the next day because there's a pile of work orders the next day. So it was just fast moving, getting to the point where you're having to schedule your stuff to your route. It's like, okay, do I do this on the way to the office? Leaving the office or coming back to the office, just because there's so much work to do. And I learned a lot. I mean, that's probably the biggest learning curve I had, because it was just so fast paced. If you learned something, you had to pick it up and you had to retain it. There wasn't this learn it, forget it, get on a URL, a link to just learn it again. So after that, I kind of got tired of that fast pace. And it was like, theater rooms are awesome. Distributed audio is awesome. But I want to be the guy that programs the button that you push and it does its thing. So I became a programmer there for a little while, and then other opportunities started to rise as I started building myself up, just the quality of work. And of course, the rapport from other clients. They would call that company and request for me to do the install. It wasn't just like, I need you guys, as a group, the company to do the install. We want Paul Lopez to do the install. So obviously, it was building in my brain. It's like, okay, I think I'm building a network here. And of course, transitioned from there and started working. I worked, here and there for multiple companies as install manager, quality control manager, things like that. But the activity of the install started slowing down. It wasn't so much about getting the cool speakers in the ceiling. It was the quality of it. It was the quality of that. And then also the relationship with the client in regards to like, okay, Paul, how can I get this thing to work on my phone? Or how do I get at the time, it was more or less, how do I get the remote control when I press one button, it does all these different things. So as I transitioned from there, I started really building the network up, and it was really working for me. Then 2009 happened. So when that happened, of course, residential sells down. I was primarily doing residential. So at that point, I just had to pick and choose what I'm doing. So I ended up becoming a contractor and just working for multiple companies, helping them.
Were you laid off because of the Great Recession, or did you decide to
it just slowed down? And, I had a couple of life challenges, one of them being divorce. If anybody knows an audio video guy, they've probably been through one or two of them. It's a very high demanding job, so calls, text messages at 10, 11 o'clock at night, obviously this stuff is entertaining. Everybody has.
If you don't put the rules of engagement in that client relationship,
exactly right.
those folks want service 24/7.
It's funny because I almost feel like I have to have a disclaimer when if I'm meeting somebody. It's like, okay, just so you know, here you go. But anyhow, it all kind of worked out, and then I met through all this contract work. I met a individual that was starting off. It was him and one sales guy, and I helped him build his company from the bottom up. I mean, they were moving in the right direction, but they just didn't have the backbone to move them to doing, from $100,000 a year to doing, $1 million a year or a couple million a year. So I started working for that company, and it grew and grew and grew to the point where, I was the install manager, which I kind of was already because I was the lead installer. And as the teams built up, they've just worked underneath me, and we started using my network as well as theirs. And it built up, and it was a great experience, just being on the front line of everything. The owner really he leaned on me as much as I leaned on him. So I'll be forever grateful for that. And it just built up, and it became I believe between a $4 to $5 million company with a large commercial presence. And, for me, it was a learning curve hardcore because through the course of the years, I was residential only. And then we became more of a commercial company, doing stuff for some of the sports teams out here, and big corporations, conference rooms full, video distributions, multiple floors, things like that. It was a really great learning experience. A lot of gray hair, that happens.
I just had someone call me out the other day for my gray hair. I was talking to one of my customers I've known for 20 years, and he's like, "Ron, lift your hat." I was like, "What?" He's like, "Do I spot gray?" I was like, "Man, I don't know a business owner that doesn't have gray hair. I don't think it's possible. What are you talking about?
I embrace the George Clooney, Ron. That's what you got to do, you know?
That's it. I like that. I'm going to use that line now. I'm embracing my inner George Clooney.
There you go.
Minus the millions in the bank. But yeah, I'll go with the gray hair.
So after that, you know, I've had a great network. I've had clients that constantly tell me, why aren't you doing your own thing? Why aren't you doing your own thing? And it's like, well, it's intimidating. It's intimidating because, you know, it's like, you know, I always use a car reference because I'm a car guy. You know, it's always easy to work on the car, but I got to buy the parts to do it. And I've never been the buy the parts guy, you know? So I just kind of felt the way things were progressing, I reached kind of an impasse with the last company. And I felt the best way, you know, there was some culture changes that were taking place that I just didn't necessarily agree with. Not that they weren't bad for the company or good for the company, which I thought they were, you know, I think they're great for what they were doing, but I wanted to go a different direction. And so I made that decision. I made that decision with the help of a client, believe it or not. I had a large client, and they kind of skated me through the way and helped me out. And this is where I'm at now.
And how long? That was 3 years ago?
3 years ago. Yes, sir.
So what has surprised you now that you own your own deal? You run the show.
Yeah.
The buck stops right there at your shoulders.
Yep. It's scary.
Yeah, it is scary. And naivete is a beautiful thing. A lot of time, us entrepreneurs, we don't realize the challenges and how hard it's going to be. And because if we did, we may not have done it.
That's right.
So what has surprised you in terms of being your own entrepreneur?
I mean, just a lot of things that I didn't expect, you know. I mean, we can just go down the lines of, you know, financial.
Yeah, I mean, that's fun. I think some people listening will either appreciate that they went through that as well, and or there's probably some people thinking about, you know, one day maybe doing something on their own. And so it's, you know, can't hide it. It's a fact. Our industry is born out of people leaving companies and starting new companies. And
Right.
that's how our industry has been since day one.
Well, for me, it was a little bit of a unique kind of deal, you know. Like I said, barking up the tree, saying, hey, you need to do your own thing. I could have started off chucking a truck, you know, guy out there doing small jobs and building it up slowly. But the demand of the network of folks that were bothering me on a regular basis, I couldn't support it. I couldn't support it or obtain it. You know, Control 4, I'm a certified Control 4 company. We have a showroom, it's certified. And just getting that, you know, if I don't have the certifications, if I don't have the credentials, I can't support, you know.
So if you had stayed independent, like with your, you know, your own business, but just Paul out there doing, you wouldn't have been allowed to maintain a C4 dealership.
That's right. That's right. I mean, they're asking me for a business plan. They're asking me to, you know, all these credentials, all these things. Do I have a showroom? You know, I couldn't operate everything essentially from a laptop and my cell phone, you know? So there's a buy-in, you know, there's a lot of financials behind it to obtain a lot of the abilities to get some of these dealerships. And then of course, you know, they court you, you know, they want to make sure that they're not bringing on a company or a team that just has, you know, has put a bad taste in other companies' mouths or just can't seem to, you know, do the basics, pay the bills, you know? So yeah, that was the thing. So I just knew that I had to go, it was either all in or all out. You know, that's kind of how it worked. And, you know, it's kind of sell yourself out for saying, it's like, all right, everybody, I'll see you here later. You know, I don't have a life anymore. My life is my business.
So what parts of the business, what parts of running your business, running your integration shop, do you think that you were well prepared to manage? And what parts do you think that you weren't and you needed to get help?
It was, I think the big standout was the financial side of it in regards to the, like I brought the liability insurance, the HR side of things, you know, payroll tax, you know, taxes at the end of the year.
I've made some of those mistakes.
Yeah. Luckily, like I said, I have I have a silent partner. I have a silent partner, and he's a very well-versed businessman, and I've been lucky enough to resource their HR department. So, there was a lot of training. It's like, hey, you can't say that. Or, if anybody knows me, I'm a very loose individual. I like to have fun. This industry is a lot of fun, even though it is a lot of stress. And, it's just, you can't be that individual when you're
not when you're responsible for others and they're looking up to you. There's not just laws, but there's what's right and what's thinking about the other people and their needs and wants and treating people fairly and equally.
It's a learning curve every day. I mean, with some of the things that are going on in this world right now, some things, we just don't realize that are offensive to others. So we have to be very careful. And I've learned a lot, and I continue to say that I'm not learning anymore. That's a lie. I mean, especially in this industry, you're always
sitting
learning.
In that chair. It's very humbling, isn't it?
Yes, it sure is. It's I praise myself. I praise my family, everybody that was supporting me every single day. Because without all that, I don't know that I would be in this chair right now. So
what's changed? If you look at your business pre-COVID and you look at your business now in the COVID era, which we don't know how long it's going to be like this, right? Maybe forever, but what's changed? Like, what are some big or obvious things that are different in terms of how you were running
your type of business has changed dramatically. I was mainly a commercial outfit. I was doing 75% commercial easily. We've had some pretty large projects, and we were crushing the hospitality realm. Lots of bars and restaurants. For a while there, it was kind of funny that I felt like that's all we did, and as we made some changes, it wasn't an overnight thing to become a certified Control4 showroom. They had to court me, and it was something that I knew that I needed to do because you can't just put all your eggs in one basket, Ron. We gotta diversify. We gotta be able to put our hands in several different baskets. So when times like this take place, we're covered. And I kind of felt like everything kind of landed in a way that I got very fortunate with. One being the showroom, the other one updating the website or whatever, and getting things going on that. So we were more geared to being a 50-50 type company. And when all this took place, my commercial business is dramatically.
What would you say your ratio in 2019 was, commercial to resi?
75 to 80% commercial, 20 to 25% residential. And now I want to say it's almost a flip-flop.
Wow.
So, and just the timing of doing all these things, my team is awesome at our Facebook posts, getting others to know more about the business, how personal we really are, how much we do care. For a while with all this going on, we were labeling ourselves of takeover AV, just, the fact that their relationships with prior companies just wasn't there. And the fact that we actually do care, it's like, my kid can't get on a laptop and do their studying. It falls off all the time. It's my child's going to fall behind. Just that's a prime example of being able to set yourself up to move forward and being the fact that we'll take the call at 6:00, in the evening and saying, okay, let me see if I can do X, Y, or Z, or we're going to talk to you early in the morning to get it resolved. That's important. That's important, especially in times right now. So
are you seeing the markets that you serve, are you seeing the spike or significant increase in residential technology demand? Is that what enabled you to transition from 75-25 commercial resi to flipping that to
I think so, just because the Zoom meeting situation that's taking place right now. It's the fact that 90% of all these families are home. They're home. The idea of going to the movie theater, getting away, going to a concert, you can't do those things right now, Ron.
When will we go to a concert again? Like, when does that whole business even
go into a football game, go into a baseball game? everything is being streamed.
Well, you're going to a Dolphins game. You're going to have 6 foot separation automatically.
Exactly. That's if there is football, Ron. That's what I'm hoping for. Everybody keeps on telling me otherwise, but I am holding on to that string. We're going to get it.
I'm going to have people hating. I have Dolphins fans on my team in Miami, so I'm going to get some eggs thrown at me for that comment. I know.
Yeah. So, but yeah, getting back to that. Yeah, it's a fact that people are paying more attention to the things that are going on in their home now more than ever. It's not one of those deals where, think about it. We're dealing with higher end CEOs, CFOs, large management people in companies that are never home. They're always traveling. So that idea of like Big Brother in your system was one. And now they're in their homes using their systems. They're like, you know what? I do need audio in this room. I want to come in here and decompress. I've had a long day on my laptop staring at a screen. I want to be able to listen to some music.
Tell me about networks. What have you done to address the obvious demand from your customers? You just mentioned all these executives that are now, they're doing this, they're video conferencing or they're doing live stuff. Their kids, meanwhile, are in the other room and they're about to restart all their virtual learning.
Right.
The family's watching Netflix. The demands for networking has never been higher or greater with a greater focus in our industry.
Well, it's funny you bring that up because we got partnered up with a company called Access Networks, and they help us out immensely. It's so wonderful to be able to use their design aspect as well as their monitoring. So they give us the ability that a client comes up to us and says, hey, I am on my network constantly. Family of 5, the wife is using it. I'm using it. I got kids that are studying on it. I have classes coming up. I get dropouts all the time. So what we've done is we're using their product that they help us design. We'll take a layout, say they'll give us a plan, or we'll even use a Google shot, of just the outside of the house plus the square footage route, and we'll turn around and we'll send it over to them, have a discussion, let them know whether they have an automation system, let them know what's important to them, and so on and so forth. And we'll come up with a proper design and we'll implement it, and it will be monitored. It'll be 24/7 monitored. And what's nice about that is that typically we will get the information of knowing that something is having an issue prior to even the client even knowing. So we're ready for that service call if need be, or, hey, we know something's going on. Do you mind unplugging this piece of equipment? We're noticing that it's having some fails, things like that. So it's just trying to be ahead of the game a little bit for the client to make their lives a lot easier.
Do you find, Paul, right now that clients are willing to spend more on better gear for networks? I mean, is the conversation in that regard changed at all?
Yeah, it has. It has. I think pre-COVID even, only because, just the Internet of Things. Think about it. Everything that we have is connected, even as something as simple as a Ring doorbell. Everything that we do is, there's a web page you have to go on to sign on for. Your email, chatting. Even your phones. Most of my clients now are using their the ability on their phones to use their Wi-Fi for their Wi-Fi calling more than they're just using their regular phone, because maybe they have a metal roof on the house and they're just not getting a good coverage in the home as far as their cellular is concerned. So yeah, it's network right now is everything. It really is.
So you just mentioned Access Networks, and I know, Hagai and his team, they're really an impressive company on an impressive trajectory. What a neat opportunity for them. Talk about turning lemons into lemonade in terms of this COVID situation into really what I know is supercharged growth for them. Are there other vendors? We're in this super strange time, right? So there's no trade shows. There's no buying group events. I don't know that as an industry we'll even get together in 2020. And, all of our interactions are here virtual over video conference. Are there vendors that you think are doing it right?
Yeah, there's one that stands out. There's one that stands out, and the company is called Origin Acoustics.
Sure.
What they're doing is amazing. as soon as the epidemic started, they were concerned because everybody, of course, is, it's a big scramble. Everybody's, panicking and so on and so forth. So they started immediately with these Zoom meetings, talking about, hey, if anybody knows Jeremy Burkhart, he's been around for decades and he's faced several things of this magnitude where businesses dropped out, and him having the ability to get on there with his team and talk about what they can do. Hey, this is what we're doing. This is what you should probably be doing too. From even the PPP stuff, you should be applying for this, for just all these different programs that are accessible. It even goes further than that. Just I'll be at the home office doing my thing and get a phone call from Miranda, or get a phone call from Mark, or any of them. Aaron works. He's a rep for them. Yeah, I'll get a phone call and it's like, hey, Paul, how's the team doing? How are the families of your team doing? It's not a, hey, you haven't bought, XYZ amount. And, hey, have you ever, thought about getting terms? We're willing to help you out. Will that help you? Things like that. That stands out to me. That just shows that we're in this together. It's not a, hey, your numbers are down situation, where I have other companies, large companies, that I have to give a long explanation to clients of why their gear isn't here yet, because manufacturing got shut down. It's really something.
How bad is that? How bad is the extent that vendors you're doing business with don't have access to product because they just can't get it from China or wherever?
Man, I've got a client right now that we've had to push their install back, and it's now we're getting things back online. It's been almost a month from, and that's already paid for, product sitting there, and just, but that's the kind of thing about building the relationship with the client. If you're upfront with them and honest with them and you have a good rapport, those conversations aren't difficult. I mean, I feel like we take on most of the anxiety of those conversations than they do. They're like, well, we're okay. We've lived without it for years. So what's another month? And we're like, well, just keep in mind, we're going to make this right. You're going to love it. And
just staying in good communication with
the
customer.
We have weekly meetings going through some of our CRM in regards to like, okay, where are they at? Have we followed up? Things like that, just to make sure that our customers feel comfortable. Like I said, they're family members. The last thing you want is an angry uncle. So that's kind of the approach.
That makes sense. I saw the news. I'm a vendor of within the Prosource buying group, and so I get these updates. And of course, I know you and Jonathan, and so we knew it through other channels as well. But you guys just became a Prosource member.
Yes, and very exciting.
So for those that are listening that don't know what Prosource is, what is it, and why'd you guys join?
Well, it's a buying group. It helps us build our buying power with some of the products that we offer to our clients to give them, a better opportunity and make it more cost effective for them. It also, not only is that, is a great resource. It's a great resource of information. It's a great resource of just getting our minds together with other AV companies out there that are experiencing the same things we are. Maybe we're all using the same product with the same problem. Maybe it's something along the lines of, hey, I used this, it was amazing. Or some of the future development projects like low voltage lighting is a big deal right now. It's only going to get bigger. They're offering educational courses for that. Those are resources that you just can't look away from, and it just strengthens our team. Being well versed in that. The last thing you want to do is get caught off guard and walk into a situation which is like, hey, why don't you offer this to me? I'm really interested in it. So that's what's important, about that. I don't know that there's a dollar amount that you can put on that. So
there are more than this, gang. Type into the comments and educate me. But I know there's like 4 major groups. There's Ezion, there's Prosource, there's HTSA, there's Nationwide, and you chose the Prosource path. Like what stood out for you as to why that was the right path for your business?
Well, 2 things. One, I had an inside track just because the company I used to work for, I used to go to some of their town hall meetings and events, and just the resources just stood out, right? Also, it also fit our line card. Not because I built a line card to follow with what their offerings are, just because it just was a good fit. Matter of fact, that's what's so great about this business is that I did talk to other groups and they told me, hey, you should probably look at this one instead, because we just don't feel like you're going to be a good fit. Not because we don't want you to be, just because your line card shows that it's going to be way better to be at this location or to you deal with this company. And they're right. And that's the great thing about, I feel like in this industry, we all play well together. It's really nice.
Yeah.
So.
And for those that aren't, and I know a lot of our industry is not in a group, what Paul's referencing is that if you sell, and I'll just use Control 4,
right.
If you're doing your volume with Control 4, then you probably want to join a group that where Control 4 is, because then you'll get your rebates or your discounts or your programs based on that volume. It doesn't make sense to join a group that doesn't have Control 4, because you're going to miss out on that opportunity. And, all of those discounts and rebates flow to the bottom line to increase your net profitability. And clearly your financial muscles are much stronger now. And that's an important thing in terms of running a strong business.
Those Christmas parties don't pay for themselves, Ron.
Amen. Well, it's funny. I'm just doing my budgeting for 2021. It's one of our exercises I've been involved in the last couple of weeks with my team. And we're doing that. We're designing our team events and our departmental events. We're operating on an assumption that we actually will get together next year.
Right.
I don't know that we will get together, but we're planning that we will. So what, just on that concept of what's going to happen next year, what do you think big picture changes for you or this industry as we look, get your crystal ball out and look into the future?
Man, it's, I feel like, my mix is going to be 75 residential, 25 commercial, and it's going to be a different type of commercial. It's a lot of more huddle rooms, or not even huddle rooms, but Zoom setups. My hospitality stuff is going to be really weird, only because, right now Texas is at I believe it's 50% occupancy in restaurants right now. Bars are still closed, so that's going to change a lot.
How do restaurants survive? They aren't profitable at 50% occupancy.
Yeah, it's, takeout orders, I guess. But, why do you need a big TV and audio to adjust with one button if you're standing outside handing orders out, Right. So that's kind of where we're at. We're just kind of seeing what the whole situation is in regards to that. There's other areas. We have some large commercial projects we've done in the past that continue to do things, and we're going to be able to do a few, smaller projects with them, but it's not anything like, it wasn't a venue, or it wasn't a, it's going to be this really great nightclub, and that turns into a sports bar. That's probably just not really going to happen, unfortunately.
Do you think you'll grow in 2020? Do you think your revenue will grow over 2019?
Yeah, I think so, because of my residential. And I think the reason why is because not only is the marketing working, our relationships and our referrals have been fantastic, but also all those clients that we deal with in those commercial style settings, since we're having to work from home, they're like, hey, why don't I just call these guys? That being familiar and having that relationship with that, that manager or that CEO, and, looking at their, TV, their plasma from, 10 years ago, they're like, yeah, I'm going to call these guys. They did a good job. Let's get them over here to the house. They do residential. I didn't know that before, but now I know. So I feel like that's going to be a big win for us. So.
What do you see as the importance or lack of importance? Just how does it play out for you, the importance of the way you present your business on the internet? I'll just say the digital representation of your business.
Well, it's introducing everybody to the team. We do that on Facebook. We try to do a Meet Your Integrator once a week. We take snapshots of what we're doing here at the office. Other people that we've done business with will showcase their restaurant bar, maybe their really nice setup in their media room, whatever. We try to show everybody just all the little tools and tangibles, and keep it in the attitude of the company. We're a real fun company and a real fun group. And we just try to showcase that as much as possible, that we're just not the kind of team that just goes in, hey, we're here to do your media room and never talk to you again. That's not who we are. That's not the model. And so like my staff does a great job of just portraying that and letting them know who we really are. You know, I think that's what really helps us. And the social media thing has been great for us. We just launched an update on our website, which was great. We work with a fantastic company that helps us with that. And so they do that, and they handle my SEO stuff as well, and it gave us a lot of pointers on how to help with that. So
there we go. I just did some fancy technology here, and I made it showed up on the screen.
Yeah, man, you're pretty good, Ron. You know, looking for a job. You know,
99% my software, 1% me clicking a button.
So I'm just kind of looking at this, and this gives us a prime example of exactly how we, what we're about, just day in the life of using our technologies, the team, understanding what we're doing here at our office, just giving you just a real life, just a real touch of what we're doing.
I love that you've used video of your people. If you look across our industry, that is so rare. It is so rarely done where someone puts a camera or any photography or video of their team, and you've got that here. Why did you choose to do that?
Well, I mean, I feel like just in our conversation right now, I've kind of pushed the sentiment of the company of us being a personal group, and I could have hired a lot of pretty little people to be up there doing that stuff. And, why do that? I want to give the sense that basically if a client is going to this website and they're looking for something to get done, the person that's on that website is who they're going to deal with. We've had some additions to the team as well. And we'll be making those changes as we make some adjustments to the website itself. But it's important, to have that proper presence rather than just being a very bland website. When I first started the company, that's what I did, just because I just didn't know the direction, what my idea was and what it turned out to be. Obviously, it always changes, right? And you just got to go with what's going to work rather than just being stuck. If we're sitting here and just stuck in our own ways, I don't know where I would be right now. I mean, considering that we were doing 75% commercial. I mean, if I try to live by that, I might be a chuck in the truck right now. And just because us together can all change and move and make those changes and know that, hey, this is what is being required of us. Let's do it and let's be good at it. And that's the approach we're doing.
Love it. Paul, for those that are out there listening or watching and they want to get in touch with you directly or they want to learn more about your business, Integrated Lifestyles, what are the methods that you'd like them to get in touch with you?
Well, you can call us if you'd like. Our number is 214-272-8178. You can call us there. You can visit our website. Our website is integratedlifestylesinc.com. There's a direct link there that you can what's that? I gave the wrong phone number, guys. See this? This is 272.
That's great. I love how someone walked into your office to correct that. We're gonna edit that out.
In here and straighten me out. Say hi, John.
I love it. I think that's my first what do you call it when someone like spams your photo or your video?
Yeah. Let's try this again. 214-272-8678. There it is. And you can do that. You can reach us at the website. There's a link there. You can actually chat with somebody. Or you can just send an email right from it as well. There's a lot of good information on that website. There's some how-tos if you're not sure in regards to the Control4 side of things, because that's what our primary automation system is. You can go there just like, hey, if I was considering doing this, how can I go and, do it? How would it work? go on the how-tos, get familiar. It's like test driving your car before you buy it.
For those that have been chatting on Facebook all along here, I'm going to give a few of them a shout out. Chino Lopez. Now, based on the last name, I'm assuming this is a family member.
Yeah, that's my uncle. Yeah.
Says that's so proud of you. That's pretty cool when family gets to see you do stuff like this. And then we got Chris, good industry guy.
Yeah, he's been around for years.
Yeah,
we love Chris around here.
He's a rock star. And then Wes says, welcome to Automation Unplugged. I know, Wes, I'm a little late putting this up on the screen, but I appreciate the love. And then Stephanie, I know Stephanie is like a University of Miami fan. So I think
I saw that on there. That's cool.
She was there it is. Stephanie says all about the U. So
all about the U. Yep.
Then there's a bunch of chatting here regarding a couch, and I'm not quite sure what that's all about, but I'm assuming there's an inside joke there.
Well, yeah, I don't know. For some reason, I'm looking over here, and it looks like they want to buy my couch, which is really odd. It's not for sale.
Not for sale.
Not for sale, guys. Sorry. Yeah.
And then you got Carlos. He says, just witnessed a call of Jonathan and Alex and already a fan of Integrated Lifestyles.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
So, very cool. Paul, I want to thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule, sir, to join me for episode 132 of Automation Unplugged. And I know my audience is going to get a kick out of this as well.
No, thank you so much, Ron. We appreciate it. And like I said, whatever I can do to help anybody out, I hope any of the information I gave was helpful. So
no, it's great. And we'll drop your phone number and web. We'll drop all that down into the chat string. What is that?
The right number.
We're going to drop the right number down into the chat string on Facebook, and then we'll also put that over on down in the show notes on the dedicated page on the One Firefly website.
All right, fantastic. Thank you so much, Ron.
Thanks, Paul. All right, gang. Well, there you have it. I've watched Paul and Jonathan and team really build up Integrated Lifestyles from day one. In fact, they had reached out to me and my team pretty shortly after starting their business. And there was a bit of a courtship there and learning, are we right for each other? And they've been great partners of One Firefly now for a good number of years, and really proud of what they're doing in that Dallas market. So on that note, gang, if you have not already done so, I know I sound like a broken record, but I know some of you listening or watching have not done this yet. So please go over to your favorite podcast listening environment and subscribe, follow us. If you feel so compelled, if you like what you see or hear, leave us a review. We'd love that. And on that note, I will see you soon. I'll see you on the show next week. We've got guests booked out for the next couple of months. So lots of fun and interesting guests that make up this fun industry of custom integration. And on that note, I'll see you soon. Thanks, everyone.